Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just hit the link in the show description to support now.
Hello and welcome to the MMA show, UFC 250, UFC Freedom 250, as you may have guessed from the intro. This is a special edition previewing the fights at UFC Freedom 250, UFC White House. Sponsored by Hatton James Legal. For all your employment needs, Hatton James Legal. And this podcast would not be possible without our friends who produce and edit the show at SRB Media. That's SRBmedia.co.uk. Head over to their channel and they've got various sporting podcasts as well as this one. In this episode we're going to preview probably the biggest card of the year, possibly the decade and possibly the century. UFC Freedom 250. Incredibly unique. It probably never happened again. And it's celebrating the 250th anniversary of the United States independence from Great Britain. For better or worse, so that's the celebration of the UFC hosting this event in the White House in the I think it's the South Lawn. To contact the podcast, you can email us at the MMA Show 7, the MMA Show 7 at gmail.com. On Twitter handle, it's the MMA Show, and you can use the Facebook page Let's Talk MMA. So that's all the contact details out the way. I'll introduce you to the regular co-hosts. I've got Diamond. Diamond, how are you?
Hi there, hello. My name is Scott. How you doing? Good to be on the show. I think with an introduction like that, Gene, you might take Joe Rogan's job.
Thank you, Diamond. Always good to have you on. And Josh Superkid, how are you?
Yeah, evening lads, all good, thank you very much. Happy to be on the show again, always a pleasure, and looking forward to talking about some hopefully exciting fights.
Yeah, so we're gonna, we could preview probably 6-7 fights easily, but we're gonna preview the top 4 of the main card. And this has come about, 250th anniversary of independence for the United States. There's a friendship between President Trump and Dana White. Used to be President Dana White of UFC. He's not president now, is he? Is he CEO of the UFC? Since the buyout.
Yeah.
And,
something like that. It's all the same, but let's be honest.
Yeah. But Diamond, you said it before, the history on how this came about. If you want to bring it in again.
I think from people who have been following UFC for years, there's no way this card would have come about if it had not been the history between Donald Trump and the UFC. And I'd say Dana White obviously played a big part. They go back years in regards to trying to get venues. I believe Trump was, one of the first to help them. So I believe this is the reason, and I don't think you'll ever get this kind of scenario again, where they're able to do a card in the White House, essentially, or on the lawn. So I think that's the backstory to it.
Yeah, and also it's not just 250 years of independence. That the actual day is on July the 4th. The card is on the 14th of June. It's Donald Trump's birthday as well. I'm not sure on that day, but very close to that day. 80th birthday. So, so we're going to go into the, as we sort of framed it in terms of the uniqueness and how it probably came about. But let's get on to what it's all about, is the fighters. And we're going to start with someone who's making a lot of waves, a lot of noise. He's got some sort of character, some WWE style persona. is Josh Hockett, but obviously he's done some good things. He had a very good fight with what's his name, Blades, he damaged him pretty good over 3 rounds, and it looked like he cut him up with a razor blade along his face. But and good old Derek Lewis, a very violent man, but seems to have a decent nature about him as well. So, Josh, since Josh Hockett, we're going to you. What do you want to say about these? Let's talk about Josh Hockett first, because Derek Lewis is a well-known entity.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, G. I think it's one of those fights where it looks like it's going to be potential fireworks. I mean, you look at the resumes, both of them are what you would classify as probably knockout artists. And you've got Hockett, who's probably more of a sort of up and comer in comparison to Derek Lewis, has been around for a while, like you were saying. But I think this will be sort of the big fireworks fight everyone's looking forward to. Could probably expect to finish. It's a weird one because I think the heavyweight division is in a bit of a weird place at the minute. I'd say there's not much excitement in that division at the moment, just because of basically a lack of competition, really. I mean, you've got obviously you've got the situation with the belts with John Jones and Aspinall and whatever, but I think this is one where it's sort of like almost like a Hail Mary of a match, if that makes sense, when you've got 2 fighters who ultimately are going to come in and try to knock each other out.
Yeah. Diamond?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be all fireworks. We've obviously got Derek Lewis, who's always known for fireworks, one punch power. We all know his game. Josh Hockett, like you said, he's a bit of a newer entity, but going by his last fight against Curtis Blades, I must say it was a very exciting fight. So I'm expecting the same with this. Done a bit more research into Hockett. First of all, he's a bit of a character. I mean, if you see his press conferences, I'm not sure what to make of him, but I think he's trying to make waves, trying to make a name for himself. So, I mean, you can't deny a man that. But I've heard he's actually a good wrestler as well. So I wonder if he's gonna utilise any of that. We'll have to see. But I think I'm hoping anyway. This is going to be a pretty good scrap.
Yeah, you mentioned his wrestling credentials. Now I've seen the last 2-3 fights, and he did use a lot of wrestling in a couple of his fights, takedowns, and I think he did a couple of trips as well. So maybe his ego won't get the better of him, and maybe he'll try that with Derek Lewis, who's got no real wrestling ability or credentials at all.
That would be the smart move. But number one, whether he does, and number two, it won't be as exciting for ourselves. But we'll see. Yeah,
and he was NCAA Division 1 All-American, so top 10 in the country. So we'll see if he plays up to his persona, his character. He sort of does play on that a lot. He's not really at the moment a real polished trash talker or hasn't got that gimmick down, but he's making the right noises, and if you can fight the right way as well, meaning knocking people out, exciting fights, then that can be a recipe for stardom in the UFC or superstardom in the UFC, and obviously a lot of money comes with that.
I don't mind that. I don't mind somebody trying to make a name for themselves through, those kind of antics. It's more exciting for us as long as you can fight, number one, and number two, as long as it doesn't look forced. Remember Kobe Covington? I mean, his trash talk was just terrible.
He did improve a bit towards the end, but yeah, you could see a mile off.
Yeah. It was forced. He was trying to do a McGregor, and I think he was trying to switch up his character. I think he thought to himself he'll become more of an asset if he was to do that kind of thing. So I get where he was coming from. I just don't think it came naturally to him. Opposed to somebody like a McGregor or a Chell.
Yeah, and Colby Covington, he's retired, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Retired from what I don't know, but he's retired. So
I think to be fair, a lot of them are doing that RAF, aren't they? RAF. But,
Real American Freestyle. I watched a few of those. It's quite exciting. Still no submissions. It's purely wrestling, points and pin. But,
They must be getting paid pretty well, to be fair, for for a lot of these fighters to be going there.
Yeah, and I watched the last one they did, or one of the last ones, was in Miami, and they had, I'm not sure, maybe a couple of thousand people in the indoor arena, maybe more, but they certainly had an audience, their fans.
That's still fine too.
So who are you going to go with, Diamond, between Lewis and Hockett?
Okay, I'll tell you the odds first. So I got the odds for this one, which is so Derek Lewis is 5-2, and Josh Hockett is 7-2 on. So Josh Hockett is a pretty big favourite. I'd like to say Lewis, just out of nostalgia, and like we said, he's a bit of a character. Might just come out. He's got he's got that punch, but I'm going Hockett maybe. Yeah, I'm going Hockett.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, I think the smart pick it would be to go with Hockett as well. I think it's just a case of freshness. I mean, Derek Lewis done a lot of damage, took a lot of damage punishment in his career. I mean, look at Hockett, he's a young gun, up-and-comer. I think there's a very good chance that he could find the button and put Derek Lewis to sleep on the night.
Yeah, I'm going to go Hockett, but I got a feeling under that character, and yes, he wants to be exciting. I think he'll maybe try to get Derek Lewis tired and do a bit of wrestling and up against the fence, and then maybe go for a knockout. So yeah, I'm going Hockett as well.
Sorry, one thing just to add to that, actually, if you think about it, Hockett actually just fought a little while ago, didn't he?
Yeah.
He hasn't fought. Yeah, so could it be too soon? Because that was.
Could it be a good thing? He's still going to be relatively fresh. He didn't get much damage, in shape. Because remember, heavyweights still have to lose weight as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, definitely the odds makers think Hockett is hot favourite for this one.
Yeah, I can't remember when the last time Derek Lewis fought.
Yeah, inactivity. Yeah, I can't remember either, to be fair.
Yeah. So I think maybe Derek Lewis was sitting on his couch, and then he got a call from Dana White saying, "You're President Trump's favourite fighter." So
this got added on right at the end, didn't it?
It
got added on after it was announced.
Yes.
So look, Derek Lewis's last fight was in. Okay, it says January. So,
for some reason I thought it was longer than that, but
in January.
Okay, we shall move on to the third fight on the main card as we work our way towards the main event. It's Sean O'Malley versus Zahabi. I really don't know much about Zahabi, to be honest, but Sean O'Malley, is he still one fight away from getting back to a title fight, which is held by Petr Yan?
From what I've heard, this is a title eliminator.
Oh, okay.
That's what my research has told me. So, yeah, it's a good opportunity for him. That Zahabi, he's coached by, remember, GSP's coach.
Oh,
he's at
Faraz
Zahabi.
Yeah. So, he's coached out of him. So it might be a relation because they got the same, obviously, surname. But I think I think he's 38, and I think he's on the tear. He's won his last 7 fights, so yeah, he's no slouch. But yeah, Sean O'Malley obviously is a different prospect.
Yeah, Josh.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one going as well. I think it'll be probably a close fight. I mean, look at O'Malley, he's sort of fizzled out past few years or so, where he used to be sort of that renowned technical, to an extent you could argue knockout artist. He was knocking a few guys out. He's had a good few knockouts. That one against Aljamain Sterling. Then one a few early in his career against that, is it Mourinho? He's with a crazy green hair. He did a few really good knockouts. Somewhat of a knockout artist. And he's facing an Asian opponent like Diamond did say. But I think it'll be an interesting one because at the end of the day, I think you look at that. It's a Harvey's last few fights. A lot of them, I think most of them have been decisions. Last 4 he's won on decision. So in take going the distance, I think it will be from my knowledge, I think it will be of that fighter. I think it will be sort of a technical affair, nothing overly crazy. And I think it will go the distance, to be honest.
Yeah, O'Malley, he has got that sort of unorthodox hands down, defense, and he doesn't move his head around. He moves his head around rather than trying to bring his hands up. So he has got that natural, sort of more flowing, more non-orthodox style. And it was exciting. Like you said, he knocked a few people out. I think he did a couple of one-punch knockouts or walk-off knockouts. But yeah, so he sort of lost his way a bit. He's still ranked number 2. So Harvey's number 6. So if this is a contender, then. But I thought Merab was getting a rematch with Petroyan.
Yeah, you would have thought he would be. From what they're doing is what they're saying. Anyways, this is a title eliminator, but I believe Merab deserves a rematch. If I'm honest, so. We'll see where they go. Let's be honest, the UFC say a lot of things, but whether they come to fruition is a different story. Just on this Zahabi, by the way, he's the younger brother.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Of the coach. So he's going to be putting everything into it, as in, obviously, GSP's coach. So we'll see. I think GSP might come out of retirement for this and, train him as well.
Yeah, it's amazing how mainly in MMA it works with coaches and stables that if they have a really superstar fighter, and H, obviously you'll know this when we were following it really closely, when GSP was, 5 years, 8 years at the top as champion, whatever he was, we used to see that Farhad Zahabi on every countdown, on every, whatever. And he was always talking, and because obviously GSP was fighting every 4 months, and then he had Rory McDonald for a bit, and then maybe one more other guy, and then since then, for the last 5-6 years, he's got a little YouTube channel, but I've never heard him on UFC Countdown, because if you don't have a fighter, they're not going to interview the coaches for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's true. Like you said, you're essentially in the limelight when you've got a gem as it is. And somebody that's fighting regularly, and not only that, at the top level, like you said, GSP is going to be his best ever product. And then, like you said, with that comes interviews, and like you said, on the countdowns, they follow him and whatever else. And then if you don't, and again, Rory McDonald, a very exciting fighter.
Yeah,
remember his fight against
Lawler
goes down as one of the best ever.
Yeah. That was a definition of bloodbath. Yeah.
That was an amazing fight, amazing.
And the other camp that had a coach that became famous but they had a lot of fighters. Was AKA American Kickboxing. So Academy.
He does now. Javier Mendez.
Yeah. But you had
Velasquez was in there.
Velasquez.
They had so many. Obviously, Khabib.
You had John Fitch. You had Luke Rockhold. You had Josh.
This is even going back in the day.
Yeah. What was his name? Josh with the curly hair. I can't remember his second name.
Oh, Koscheck.
Yeah, there was about 7, 8 of them just coming out of that.
Oh, and Koscheck was a good fighter.
Yeah, he fought GSP and.
For the title. Yeah. Remember when he did that? Paul Daly did that sucker punch.
Yeah, the trash talk got to Paul Daly and never came back in the UFC. And so Javier Mendez, nice guy, and most recently he was Khabib that was giving him the limelight. But he was, and Daniel Cormier, don't forget Daniel Cormier.
Velasquez as well.
Yeah, and but Javier Mendez was honest. He kept saying, "Look, I effectively work for the fighters if they need me, and I'm here," and he wasn't trying to be the big coach that they do everything I say, but he was a very good kickboxer, and he done.
He seems if you see his interviews, he seems very down to earth, And even now, he's coaching the Dagestanis, isn't he? Or part of that anyway. I think he gives a lot of credit to Khabib, but
he gives a lot of credit to Khabib's father, because he used to say that was father's plan. So he's not trying to hog the limelight or saying it's all his work. And he was honest. He said, look, if they're winning and they're in the limelight, then someone like me will be in the limelight. If they're not, then they're not. So prediction
just
time.
an interesting fact. He was asked who's his most talented fighter. Obviously, he's had Khabib, he's had Makhachev, but he actually said, which one is it? The one that's not fighting in the UFC, Josh? Is it Usman or Umar?
Umar, I think the one in not PF. Is it PFL? I think it's in PFL. Umar, I think it is.
Is it Umar? Yeah, he's the most talented fighter that he has coached. So that's quite interesting, considering he didn't say he was the best. That's a different story. But he said he's the most talented. So yeah, you would assume he would come over to the UFC soon. He got popped for it, didn't he? He got popped for something or another, and he had a ban for like 6 months or something, didn't he? So, but it'd definitely be interesting if he comes to the UFC to see what he's really about.
Yeah, you know what he's going to bring in terms of style and strategy and tactics. So there must be a reason why he's not there at the moment. But if he gets there, UFC is the highest talent and the best test of your talent as well. So who are you going to go for, Diamond, there between Zahabi and O'Malley?
Let me tell you the odds first. So I assume O'Malley's quite a strong favourite for this one. So O'Malley's 4-1 on, and Zahabi's 11-4, so nearly 3-1. So again, Sean O'Malley's pretty big favourite. Hence, I'm going for Sean O'Malley. Yeah,
Josh.
Yeah, I think O'Malley decision.
Yeah, I think the same. It's going to be 3 rounds. It's not a co-main or a title fight. So yeah, it's 3 rounds. I'm going to go O'Malley as well. The co-main event is the interims, because Aspinall is injured. He got the eye injury with the fight with Gane. Pereira, as I said, this is a unique card, but he could be the most unique fighter in the UFC ever if he gets this. It's not a full belt, so there's going to be an asterisk next to that, but he'll be heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion, and middleweight champion. Yeah, but we have to put that I in front of the heavyweight interim. But anyway, he could be a heavyweight champion, maybe not the heavyweight champion. And he's fighting Cyril Gane, who fought Aspinall, but that got stopped due to eye pokes. And it's a very, very intriguing and fascinating story, the way Pereira could, only 4 years ago, he was still kickboxing, which makes it even more remarkable. Josh, what are you saying?
It is an interesting one. It's just in terms of the overall division, I think it is, like I was saying before, just lacking a bit of, obviously since that Aspinall incident, it is lacking. It is interesting to see a lot being made about Pereira going up to heavyweights and the implications of that potentially for the division, have a bit of excitement. But I mean, you've got to remember that I think he's getting on, Alex Pereira. He's past his prime for sure. So I think it's an aging division, I'd say, and it needs some sort of fresh talent. And I think that's what it's in need of. But it will be interesting to see when Pereira does fight Gane. I think it'll be an interesting kickboxing sort of style matchup. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Diamond.
Yeah, to be fair, this is the fight I'm most excited about. I think this is going to be, hopefully should be anyway, all fireworks. You've got 2 stand-up fighters who are going to hopefully bring it. Just a little word on what you were saying about the interim title. Personally, I don't classify that as a title. Unless you've got the real gold for me, that doesn't mean much. So I do believe, obviously, he will have to fight Tom Aspinall as long as Tom Aspinall comes back. What's the situation with him? Do we know?
He did an interview a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't watch it, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's given a timeline or anything.
He said it's still close to coming back from what I remember, so it's not looking close at all.
I mean, like you said, then, Josh, where does that leave the heavyweight division?
That's the thing. I mean, it's in need of some sort of rejuvenation. I think Pereira moving up can give it a short-term sort of boost. But it's a weird one. You look at it, it's more of a short-term sort of kick up the backside, where I think the division needs sort of long-term sustainable growth, and I don't think that's going to come with the lack of talent that's being presented, really.
I blame John Jones for the state of the heavyweight division.
Oh yeah, but yeah, exactly. Just one after the other. John Jones, now Tom Aspinall. I wouldn't say it's Aspinall's fault, because it was a clear eye poke, and I'm sure that that takes time, but for whatever reason. But yeah, definitely John Jones. That was nothing to do with an eye poke. He does the eye pokes, but yeah, I mean, he's just held up the division, like you said. In terms of the actual fight itself, anyway, I've been looking at Pereira, and he looks massive, but he reminds me of Lurch at the moment. I mean, what's his movement going to be like? That's what I want to know. He's obviously not a natural heavyweight. Garner is obviously a natural heavyweight. How is he going to adapt to fighting a heavyweight? Because this is going to be his first fight at heavyweight, so I'm not so sure.
I suppose you got to ask, how quick does he have to be for a heavyweight?
Yeah.
Garner is more athletic heavyweight, yeah, and he's got more natural sort of synchronicity between his kicking and his punching, and he seems more athletic. So I get your point. Garner is probably quicker because it's more natural to him, but you don't have to be super quick in the heavyweight because they're all big guys. But how will he take a punch from a real heavyweight?
And how will his power translate? Obviously, he's a powerful guy, and at middleweight, when he touched the opponent, they just went down, and light heavyweight as well. But heavyweight, is his power going to translate to the same effect? It
depends the weight he walks around at in decent shape. I don't mean blowing up to like Paddy Pimblett to 50 stone or 500 pounds. But yeah, if he walks around 220 and he's still pretty athletic, putting on another 10, 15 pounds shouldn't. And I believe he used to cut 40 pounds, Pereira, to get to 185.
40 pounds?
Yeah, which is about 3.5 stone. Which is what Paddy's sort of doing, 28 pounds, 34 pounds. But yeah, I think Pereira carries these things well because he's been really fighting below his weight, and now he's slightly above his weight.
Do you think light heavyweight is his optimum?
I think so. If he walks around 210, 220, losing 5-10 pounds is not a big deal for athletes. So, but sometimes putting on weight isn't easy. Quality weight, obviously anyone can put on, weight that's not quality. That's easy to do. But quality weight and being athletic is extremely difficult. So that's not an easy. It sounds easier, and it probably is overall, but it's not easy.
Yeah, so it would have been really good if it was for the actual belt, because he would have been like 3 times world champion, different weight classes. But
yeah, it would have been 3 times undisputed.
Yeah.
But in terms of the heavyweight division getting a shot in the arm, if Hockett can carry on this momentum and say maybe 1-2 more fights, get a title fight. Remember, in the UFC, it depends how you finish people. You can get catapulted. It doesn't mean you have to win 10 fights, then a title fight. You can do 4 or 5. So if he still has 2 or 3, maybe 2 exciting fights, he could be a contender. And he's 28 years old, so he could be that shot in the arm that the heavyweight division needs.
Yeah, but again, it's looking a bit bleak. I mean, if you're, relying on Josh Hockett to be the next superstar. I mean, don't get me wrong, he hasn't looked too bad in his fights, but he hasn't looked anything special either. But we'll see. We'll see how he steps up and what goes on. But definitely the heavyweight needs a revamp, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah. So who are you going for? Pereira versus? It's a tough one.
So the odds. This is interesting. So the odds for Pereira versus Browne is 9-10 on Pereira, 9-10 on Surugana.
Wow.
So exactly. So they can't separate them, and that should make for a good fight. Me personally, I'm going for Suru. I think he'll beat him. I think he'll beat Pereira. So that's my prediction.
Yeah. Josh, welcome back to Josh. I'm feeling Garne because it's more natural, and he is a skilled kickboxer, but obviously so is Pereira. But I think the weight element, more natural, holding the weight, being used to that weight, will come into play. And I think Garne, I see a knockout because there'll be a lot of kicks probably, so a head kick could knock someone out. And so I'm going Garne. So we'll go over to Josh. Your prediction for Pereira versus Garne?
Yeah, I think I've just got to go disagree with Diamond. I think you look at the matchup. I think that Garne's the one fighter in that division where, at the top of the division, where you look at it and think, yeah, I can handle it. Obviously, you've got his experience in kickboxing and what have you. But I also think the way that Garne uses his size isn't going to be a bigger factor as people might think, in terms of he's not a fighter he's not really going to use that size into looking for, like you said, his wrestling isn't all that in blackout wrestling credentials. And I just think that Pereira, especially given that he's a black belt in BJJ, I think he can. I think he's more than likely going to fancy the matchup, and I think he'll come out on top.
Yeah, that's a good point. Pereira may try to take it to the ground because Garne is weak on wrestling. So yeah, isn't that what happened in the first Adesanya fight, or the second one for a bit? I don't know. I think they nullified each other a bit, but yeah, it's a good point, Josh. It could happen, but I think it'll be.
I think you're quite a big fan of Pereira, aren't you, Josh?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think he's just the striking, he's one of the fighters who uses the way he uses his body weight. That's why I guess he's got that vicious knockout power. Gets all that torque into his shots, and you look at just from his shadow boxing down to his knockout shots. Just every shot is so precise, so clean. He's one of the cleanest strikers about, and I think the way that he translates his power, like going back to what you were saying before, Diamond, will the power translate? I've got no doubts that it will. I think he'll not even just the size aspect of it. It's more the technical precision and the way that he uses power. You talk about more technical aspects of martial arts. You look at the way that you strike, your biomechanics. You look at that sort of posterior chain, the way he translates into that power into that left hook. I don't think the size is going to play a factor, to be honest with you, Diamond. I think we'll be a knockout in this fight. I think we'll beat Pereira.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, good case, Josh. We'll see if that happens, or if Garne has enough to keep it on its feet and have more dominance in the stand-up. So we're going to come on to the main event, and this is Topuria versus Gaethje, Justin Gaethje, and this is for the full title fight, even though is Gaethje interim champion, isn't he? He fought Paddy he is interim champion.
Yeah, but technically Poirier is champion, isn't he?
Well, not technically, he is the champion. Yeah.
Well, he is. Yeah. Well, he is champion, yeah.
Yeah.
So the interim title doesn't really mean much then, does it?
Yeah, so it's a stopgap. But so you got champion versus champion in IC, interim champion.
Josh can go first because I know he's a really big fan of Topuria.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fireworks. You look at the two probably in the last 5-6 years, less so Topuria, maybe more recent, but two of the most exciting fighters in the old company. I think that goes without saying. going back to that point with sort of Pereira with the technical side of things, I think there's no one better than Topuria in the entire UFC. I know I do like to sing his praises quite a lot, but the way that he uses, as a small man, the way that he uses that torque and uses that sort of the translation of power into his shots is absolutely ridiculous. And I honestly think he could do that at any weight class that he can get to. So I think that's an interesting one. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was people don't really mention this, but Topuria's background is from Greco-Roman wrestling, and it's not something he's utilised in his past fights, but that's his background, and that's where he's started. That's where his base for mixed martial arts actually was originally from, and I think that could very well play a factor. Might not be in this fight, but later down the line, if he potentially goes on to fight Islam, I think people will be majorly shocked on what he can do, especially on the ground. And it doesn't get mentioned. I'm sure he's a black belt in BJJ as well. So I think, for me, he's just one of the most complete fighters. Probably that. Obviously, I'm more of a recent MMA fan, but I honestly do think he can be an all-timer.
Yeah, you're right, Josh. And even though he's Spanish heritage, Ilie Topuria, he's born and bred in Georgia, which is a former Soviet state. So that's where you get the wrestling in. So the Soviet system in Greco-Roman and freestyle is probably one of the best, and that is shown by the medals in the Olympics and other games as well. So he's been brought up on maybe the Greco-Roman wrestling Soviet style. So he's got a solid ground style, but don't forget Getche, even though we don't see it, is an NCAA American wrestler, but he hardly ever uses it. And hey, Diamond, you'll know this as well, because there was 2 or 3 really elite wrestlers that, well, maybe one of them never used it that much. There was Rashad Evans, when he was coming up and became light heavyweight champion. He was knocking people out, maybe 10 in a row. There was Johnny Hendricks,
Johnny Hendricks, he was
knocked like 8 people in a row, but he did start using more of his wrestling, but he started to lay and pray and stuff like that. But some wrestlers do find it easier, because maybe their foot position, maybe the way they transition the weight into a punch. They're used to it, that they can generate that power, and they go on a run. And Getche, he's NCAA, but he's hardly ever used wrestling. So maybe if Topuria wants to do something, maybe Getche should initiate that, and not, because out of the 2 fighters, certainly Getche is more punch drunk. He's had 7 years of brutal wars. Topuria is fresh.
If you look at it, the stand-up, if it goes stand-up, I mean, what did Max Holloway do to Gaethje? If it is going to be a stand-up, which I believe is going to be a stand-up, I can't see how Gaethje wins. Topuria will just, fairly comfortably, I reckon. So, going back to your point, Josh, with the wrestling, you're right. Because obviously Topuria is known for his knockout power and his stand-up. So not many people have seen him on the ground or know about his ground game, and they think he's just a stand-up artist. So, it's interesting you say that. And like you said, I think that will come into play when he fights maybe a Makachev or an Arman even. But there's little things he does, which also how he gets them into position where you can tell he's pretty good at wrestling. He just does little tweaks here and there. On that, Arman is supposedly the backup fighter for this, from what I've heard.
He is, yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see whether that's true, considering Dana hates him. But if he is, personally, I think that should have been the fight. I don't know why it wasn't Arman versus Topuria if he is the backup fighter. That's my personal opinion. But anyway, this should be an exciting fight, or hopefully anyway.
Yeah, but having that kind of Greco, I don't know what level he got to in Greco-Roman. Did he represent Georgia, or because there's obviously levels?
I don't think he was an Olympic level wrestler, but I know that he did. His base for MMA was with wrestling. I don't know if he did or not. but his actual base and the way he started MMA was with the Greco-Roman wrestling gym.
Yeah,
and he's always said that's his base, and that's his bread and butter, really.
Yeah, because the difference with let's say the Dagestani wrestlers, even though Khabib and Makhachev and the others, because they went into MMA, they didn't go into the Olympics. But they have Olympic. What's that guy who's ripping everything in wrestling? Russian, Dagestanian.
Daladev.
The big guy.
Yeah.
Daladev. He's.
Yeah. So they have
There's
number of Olympic wrestlers that are coming, and Greco-Roman is good, but it's only upper body takedowns through grip. Freestyle is obviously single leg, double leg shoots and stuff like that. Interesting on Greco-Roman wrestling, Dan Henderson. Diamond, you remember him?
Yeah, Big Dan.
Yeah, he was Olympic. He was in the Barcelona Olympics. I think he did he get bronze or in the top 4? So
he was solid.
Greco-Roman wrestler.
Solid.
But he's another wrestler who never hardly used it. He was very much when he had that big one right hand overhand.
Shogun.
Right. Yeah, and then
Remember
there
his
was
fight against Shogun?
Yeah, and Bisping, the first one.
Yeah. He was in some wars, to be fair.
Yeah, and then Randy Couture, he was Greco-Roman. But anyway, yeah, Greco-Roman, certainly, if he's done it to a good level, and that's it. But will he compete against Makhachev? But the point I'm trying to make is compete against Makhachev and Arman, who are freestyle, and if they probably didn't do MMA, they'd probably be very close to the Olympic team. I don't know. That's maybe Topuria is just saying that. But certainly technically, boxing and stand-up, he is very, very talented, and he's got a lot of natural talent for that, you can tell, because he doesn't seem to try that hard.
There was something I read, the guy you're talking about, he said that obviously Arman trains with them a bit as well, and he said if he wanted to, he could go for the Olympic team, Georgian Olympic team. So I mean, whether he's just saying that because he's a teammate maybe or a friend or whatever else, but supposedly Arman's got some high level wrestling.
I can believe that because I think Arman's done. He's done a couple of the RAF tournaments.
Oh
yeah. And just a side note, Georgian, their flag, the white background, red, is St. George, same as England. And another country and state that has the St. George's flag is Catalonia, Barcelona. If you look at their badge, they have the red and white St. George's flag. Just a bit of factoids for you, just to keep the show interesting.
Just to
educate our viewers. You're welcome, guys. Thank you for that.
Geez, an encyclopedia. Just in regards to what you said.
We haven't had a prediction. Whoa. We haven't had the odds.
Oh, sorry. No, this was in relation to Arman. But okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, let's just finish the main event and then we can come back to Arman for sure. So, Resident Paddy Power.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting. So. He is, I believe, 7-1 on Poirier.
Wow.
So that's serious. And Gaethje's 9-2.
So 7-1 on, you put $7 and you get one back. You get
correct.
8 back. Yeah, you get one on top. Oh, okay.
And interestingly, if you go for Poirier KO or TKO, that's 9-4 on. The odds aren't that good. Let's be honest.
Surprised.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I'm going for Poirier, obviously. Yeah, I don't see how Gaethje beats him. He gets tagged too much. It was a bit like, remember we said about Oliveira. Oliveira had more to his game. I always thought Oliveira gets tagged too much, and what happened to him? He went to sleep. It's going to be the same with Gaethje, and he's old as well. His reflexes aren't going to be.
He's taken too much punishment.
Too many beatings, He's battle worn, to be honest with you. So I think Poirier all day long.
Josh, I'm not going to ask you who, but how.
I think within 3 rounds, to be honest, Jake. I cannot see this fight going past probably that's being generous. I think it's finishing side too. I think the guy's that good, and I think Gagey, like you're saying, he's getting old. He's probably accumulating more damage than probably most guys in the company. So I think it's going to be easy work for Topuria.
Yeah. I want to see Gaethje win because he's an American and he'd be fitting in the UFC White House on the lawn, South Lawn, and 250 years. But yeah, skill-wise, I don't know. Topuria's been out. Depends what he did when he was out. Did he just completely let himself go? But he's young enough, he's talented enough that he can turn things around quickly. So yeah, I think Topuria, and I think, like you said, Josh, 3 rounds, Gaethje won't have enough, especially if it's a toe-to-toe. He won't have enough to carry on beyond 2-3 rounds. But Gaethje's coaches, if he listens to them, maybe they may say just wrestle, slow it down a bit, pick your shots, but he's not going to change after 25 fights, is he really? Okay, so it's a unanimous Topuria win, TKO or KO. So Diamondback, you wanted to add some more stuff about Arman?
Yeah, well, just a couple of things. First of all, I suppose it's in relation as well. I mean, we touched on this in the WhatsApp as well. You've got obviously Conor McGregor fighting next month, or supposedly fighting next month, and then we've got Arman on the backup list. So for me, Topuria versus Arman would have been a lot better fight than Gaethje. So why wasn't that made? And Conor McGregor obviously would have been an unbelievable draw, the biggest draw, let's be honest about it. Why wasn't he on the card? So 2 questions.
Arman, why did he pull out the fight with Makhachev? Was it injury?
His back or something, wasn't it? His back just, seized up or something like that.
Yeah, maybe we don't know. Maybe there's more to it than that. And Dana knows. I don't know. Maybe that could be the reason.
Yeah, but then why is he as back? Why are you going to trust him as backup then?
Yeah, because you still need someone to back up, but you're not giving him the full limelight. And maybe backup is punishment. Look, they're saying, look, you could have been there, but you're not. So if you want to be backup, here's a couple $100,000. Just to, if you don't fight, you made $200,000 for training for 6 weeks.
Do you think he deserved to come back in a fight of this magnitude yourself?
I don't know. Deserves a loaded word. What did he do not to be undeserving? I don't know.
This is pro linebacker TJ Watt.
And I'm former pro soccer player Danny Watt.
We're excited to be partnering again with YPB by Abercrombie for a summer on the move.
And when it comes to activewear, I consider myself the true professional. I'm obsessed with the YPB matching sets and dresses. The Studio Flex fabric is buttery soft and always comfortable, whether I'm in workout mode or mom mode.
This summer, shop YPB by Abercrombie
in the app, online, and in stores.
I don't know, Josh. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a weird predicament. I think like Diamond did say earlier, I think it's a case of he's out of favour with the higher ups. It seems to me that he's a backup for every fight, but he's never actually getting a fight of his own. I think he's been back up for a few times in a few of the recent title fights. But to be honest, I think going back to what Diamond was saying about why he was a bit surprised why he wasn't on the main card. I think the reason why it was Topuria versus Gagey, one, obviously Gagey's got the interim belt, but also I think White House card, main event, you're going to want an American fighter on the main event, aren't you? So I think that's why that fight was made, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of sense in that. Like you say, he's a champion, he's an interim champion, and he's an American, which is why I'd like him to win, but I don't think he's going to win. So, so not too much of a mystery, Diamond.
Yeah, well, yeah, that personally, that would have been the fight to make for myself. But like you said, Easy Gum was giving us a lesson in what deserves means, as it were. But the other one I said was Conor McGregor. I think this is a bit more clear cut. Do you think that's basically because you can't trust the guy?
Yeah, I think we've been hearing. When was the Chandler fight going to be? Last summer or the summer before? 18 months ago. And he pulled out 2 weeks before. And I think there's so many things with Conor. You know, he's doing so many things. The money he's got, he can do many things, and he is doing many things. So in the background, maybe the negotiations, Dana and the team feel, can we put him in? That's why John Jones probably didn't get the White House card as well. So I would say there's a trust element and a reliability element, probably more.
Yeah, I would agree with you, to be fair. You just can't be trusted. He would have been obviously the mega draw. Not for myself, if I'm honest. I just think, saying that, I think the Holloway fight will be a good fight for him. I still think Holloway wins it. I think he's going to open it up as quite a big favourite, to be fair, Holloway. But I still think it's an exciting fight and a potential fight that he could potentially do something in. That's if he turns up.
Yeah.
But obviously that's for the next fight. Okay. But my other question was, this was in relation to, I was watching some of the old school MMA, so obviously Pride and whatever else, the early UFCs. Do you think they will ever bring back, and this was one of the aspects I really liked about MMA, multiple fights per night? Or you think they won't allow it now?
Let's get Josh on the younger guy. You got any thoughts on that, Josh?
I think the world we live in now, I think there's too much bureaucracy and red tape for that to happen. Too many health and safety issues and this, that, the other. I think it's more, to be honest, like you said there, it was never really a thing in the UFC. It's always been like a Pride event, and you got a lot of K1 fights, like Grand Prix events with in the older eras, like going back to your guys' eras. But I don't think that's probably, in my opinion, I don't think that's a feasible project in the 2026 world that we all know and love. It's all about health and safety and, protecting best interests of everyone's safety. I think that's the main issue with that, really.
The first 3 UFC 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, they were all on the same night.
All right. So, well, it's great. He had 3 fights to win his. You had unlimited rounds as well, unlimited time.
Yeah. So you had first match, then it was like the semis, and then your final in literally 6 hours from 6 p.m. to midnight. And that was certainly the first 3, maybe 4. When did Royce Gracie and Shamrock have their rematch? Was it UFC 5?
It might have been, but yeah, the early ones definitely they did. You said, that was one of the most exciting parts of the the element of the.
It's a dangerous sport, and you can't expect these guys to, and that's why probably at that stage it was banned from half the states in America. I think maybe over half. Like Diamond was saying, they couldn't get a venue because it was really like a barroom brawl in terms of people just walking on in their pajamas and gis and other things, and it just seemed unprofessional. If you want a professional organisation to rival boxing, which it has, and it's surpassed boxing in some areas, then you need that one fight, one night structure of a card, obviously rules. It originally was called no holds barred. NHB. I don't think he'll ever come back. I think the times moved on, people have moved on, and the way the sport is, certainly when Zuffa took it over, Fertitta Brothers and Dana, you've got to give Dana credit as well. And that's where things like sponsorship came in. Do you remember Diamond? They used to have a banner with all your supplement companies and sportswear, apparel, and they used to put the banner on the side of the cage. And I remember saying this, that's a bit like a town hall or a community hall style. And then UFC struck a deal, I think originally it was Reebok, and they've gone back to some other company.
Yeah, that's on the sponsorship. Going back on what you're saying with the early UFCs, do you remember when the one-arm boxer?
Yeah, what was his name?
Came in one glove.
Yeah. That glove seemed to be oversized, but was it a real glove? Yeah. But it's an interesting point, but I think with all the statistics and the UFC being sold, I think the Fertitas bought it for $1 million, sold it for $2 billion. So they increased revenue, 100,000 times originally to what it was. So yeah, I don't think it'll go back to that. But I think recently some other promotions tried it same night, maybe Strikeforce, maybe once or twice. But yeah, I don't think it. I wouldn't like to see. I like the format that it is. It's more professional, and it's not fair on the fighters, especially stand up. You get knocked down, and then you got to come back, concussion 2 hours later. You're quite a ruthless promoter, aren't you, Diamond? You'd be like, get back in. I don't care if your leg's broken. Get back in.
Give the viewers what they want, man.
Yeah, we're not hitting the numbers. Go on.
From back to the gladiator days.
Yeah.
Going back on that, I thought it was. I've just looked up. BKFC.
Yeah.
It says it occasionally hosts localized 8-man one-night tournaments. So you could argue that's more brutal than UFC, and yeah, they're doing one-night tournaments. The only problem with this is because it's so globalized and it's a proper sport, as it were. I just don't think, like we said, the sponsors would allow it, and TV would allow it that much, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy it. I was watching, the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
The Pride Grand Prix, and they were some decent fights.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was exciting. You sort of watch one fight, and a couple of hours later they come out again, and then no doubt about it. It is an exciting format.
Yeah, and I suppose it's the luck of the draw as well, unfortunately, with that, because if you could fight an easy opponent, or if somebody fights a harder opponent the fight before, then that's going to take effect. So it's kind of like unfair as well. Yeah,
it's a bit like football in the World Cup when you have your chart and you have your favourite team and you say, if we beat them...
It's a bit like Arsenal getting to the Champions League final, because if you get an easy run...
Yeah. And
especially
in the World Cup as well, we remember we used to look at the chart and say, if so-and-so beat this team and they're going to play them, if you finish second in the group, it's better to finish first or second. I don't know. The permutations become endless. Well, not endless, they are limited, but yeah, you start looking at the different permutations. But talking about World Cup, we should do a podcast for the World Cup soon.
Yeah, that should be really good, to be fair. I was going to say, it's a bit like our table tennis tournament as well, Gern. Remember I had you in the first round? It was a bit of an easy pass.
This is not a preview of the table tennis tournament. This is UFC Freedom 250.
But no, going back to that, but no, like you said, I don't think it's ever going to come back, I'll be honest with you. As much as I would like it to, I just don't think it will.
Yeah, no, it's a good shout, and definitely was exciting. But I think that time for professional sports at the top of their game is not the right format, and you got to respect the athletes as well. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the podcast. This was a preview of UFC Freedom 250. So it hasn't actually got a UFC number, because the last one was 328, was it? So yeah, this is not 329. This is UFC Freedom 250. 250 years of American independence from the tyranny of British rule, King George and all that. And so I think it's going to be one of the best cards in the last few years. I think it'll be very exciting. There's a bunch of other fights that will be exciting. I'm going to try to watch it live, but I doubt it. And I can't appreciate the fights 4 a.m. You can't remember them properly. I'd rather watch it the next day. But we shall see.
I'm not sure if I'm so optimistic in regards to what the card will be like, but let's hope there's some exciting fights and some memorable fights anyway. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I wonder if Trump's gonna put the belt on anyone. Maybe.
Oh yeah, what's the odds on that? I think pretty high.
Yeah.
What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I reckon if any of the American lads take it, it'll be first and front and centre.
Yeah, for the title fight, there's only one American. That's the 2 title fights.
Austria, yeah, of course, yeah, sorry. Gagey wins, it'll be any young Twitter title will be first and front and centre.
If Trump did Bruce Buffer's job as well, but
introduce them. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but the crowd is going to be. I think they haven't obviously sold it into anyone, so they've done all the checks and everything else on people, and it's outdoors as well. But yeah, so Diamond, you're looking apart from this, anything forward in the MMA world? Anything you've heard of?
Conor McGregor's coming back, isn't he? So the next UFC, yeah, it's not too bad in regards to there's some other fights on there as well. So yeah, if that actually comes to fruition, that could be interesting. You've got Makachev fighting, haven't you? Supposedly he's going to fight that Gary, isn't he? So we'll see how he goes with that. That could be interesting. So yeah, a couple of things in the pipeline. And we'll see how that goes.
Josh, you looking forward to anything apart from this? Anything else?
No, to be honest, I think this is the main popcorn grabber, to be honest with you, G. So I think I'll be looking forward to it. I think it's, other than what Diamond said, the McGregor fight, I think this is the main thing, really. Yeah,
McGregor will be entertaining. Probably more entertaining in his press conferences than the fight itself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we shall see what's his motivation. Is it just to stay in the limelight or whatever that may be? But we'll find out. But this has been the MMA Shower, UFC Freedom 250 years of independence at the White House on June 14. We'll hopefully do a review of it when we do the next podcast for UFC 329, I think, Conor McGregor, and that will be interesting. So there'll be a lot to talk about then. So thank you for listening. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be. And this has been the MMA Show, sponsored by Hatton James Legal, produced by SRB Media. Thank you.